I'm having a feeling that sometimes you're a little bit sick and tired of the responsibility, right? But also, I have a feeling that that responsibility give you purpose.
We are here at the Hag Shack on Tecumseh Road. What's the address? I should write that down somewhere.
It's 1185 Tecumseh Road East.
All right, we are here with the senior deacon of Windsor Lodge, Tibor. I never get this right.
Gajdacs.
I should just give up trying. I always call you Gracchus. Tibor Gajdacs and his wife, Katie Gajdacs, owner of the Hag Shack. And beautiful shop.
Thank you so much.
I bought a few things here, and they make terrific gifts. People love them.
Thank you.
But first, I want to talk to Tibor about his Masonic journey, because that's how I know you. Your involvement with Windsor Lodge. Tell me how you got involved in Masonry. I know you didn't join in Windsor. You joined in Toronto, I believe.
Yes.
But how you learned about Masonry, what your conceptions of it were, just how you got started in the craft.
It was interesting because I had a good friend of mine who was a Mason. Still a Mason, anyway. And I know he's a Mason, and he said this is a good organization, it's a good friendship and brotherhood and everything. But honestly, I didn't know too much about Masonry when I joined because nobody in my family was a Mason, so I'm a first one. And it was interesting because, okay, I go for the initiation, and it was hard because my language skill is not that great, and the worshipful master was a Scottish guy with a heavy Scottish accent. So it's very hard to understand. And usually the Mason language itself is kind of unique, so it's the wording is not like everyday wording what they're using. So it's hard to follow him. And I did it in the end, everything was okay, I got initiated. Then I got a little book. Okay, so here is, you have to memorize this and this. But I have to memorize something that somehow I didn't know. And this and this and that. Oh, I was completely devastated. No way I can memorize anything like that. So I don't know what to do. And I started to read and read again, and read again, and read again, and I did it. And same things happened with the second and third degree. So I went all the way. And next year, because we were changing the master, I thought it's going to be easier. So what's happened is another heavy accent Scottish guy, some ex-master in the next year. But it's to me it was so amazing because I got through all my life I got so many criticism. People try to push you down everywhere in the workplaces. You work not that much because if you work more, you want to ask more money or whatever. And the Masonry was first time when the people supported me no matter what I did. I did some later on, I become officer as well. Started with the beginning, and if I did some mistake, never criticize me. They always give me compliment. That was such a good feeling, when you belong to the organization, and the people try to lift you up, not push you down.
When you were first interested in joining and talked to your friend about joining, you were married at the time.
Yeah.
So, Katie, this is interesting because I've yet to actually have a husband and wife on the podcast. You're the first ones doing it as a couple.
Okay.
But one thing I always wondered about, because I'm not married, I joined when I was single. When Tibor first came to you and said he was interested in joining Masonry, what did you think about Masonry? Did you have any preconceived notions?
Well, that didn't happen that way.
How did it happen?
Well, I'm a Wiccan priestess now, but when I was still working on my initiation, which took about 8 years, we belonged to a women's group called Sistrum. And I really enjoyed the fact that we did women's magic, that we had women's magic, women's rites of passages, and so forth and so forth. And I felt really terrible that the men did not have anything like that. So when I talked to Daniel Follows about maybe ask Tibi to, that whatever. Then Daniel said Tibi has to ask. So, and then Tibi asked. So I was very supportive of it because everybody needs a brethren. Everybody needs a sisterhood. And women need other women, and men need other men in their magic. And I thought that's very, very important in a family, to be together, do everything together, but also have something which is mine and which is his, and respect each other's space and secrecy if that was necessary, So that was my idea in there.
So you joined in Toronto, and this is something I've talked to other Masons about, but I always think it's a really, really important thing to discuss. You joined in Toronto, but then you moved to Windsor, and you affiliated with Windsor Lodge 403. What did it feel like, the affiliation process? Were you nervous joining a new lodge? Were you excited? I know you came in through Vrage, who, a bit of a troublemaker, that guy, but you came in through Vrage. So just what were your feelings about affiliating?
It was interesting how I come together with Vrage, because it's, I have a watch, still have it, and was broke. And I really love the watch and wanted to find somewhere who can fix it. So I got in the Google it and everything. I find one watchmaker who can fix watches, and called him. Yeah, you just come here. I went there, and he saw my ring, and he said, "You have a nice ring." So I know he's a veteran. And I visited a couple of lodges, and actually I like any of them, every of them, but I didn't know which one, so I didn't reply that to every other lodges, because just visited them, and I chose the 403 there.
Well, we're lucky to have you.
Yeah.
Now, for all the international people watching this is not a Windsor, Ontario accent that Tibor's got. Where are you from originally?
I'm Hungarian,
and
somehow I left the country in 1980, and so most of my life lived in the English country, because when we left the country, we went to Australia, lived there 11 years, and in 92 we moved to Canada, and ever since I live here, and I can't shake it off the accent, so it's still.
Did you ever come across Masonic lodges or Freemasonry in either Hungary or Australia?
No, in Australia I didn't even know almost nothing about it. Maybe I heard the name, but nothing. As in Hungary is not. And now I know they have some in Hungary as well, but I didn't visit Hungary for a long time now, so I don't know.
It's always interesting when people join, Masonic lodges. Like my father, he grew up in England. His dad was a Mason, but he didn't join Masonry until he moved to Canada. Met a nice Canadian girl, and there you go. But it's always interesting, I know even I know some brethren from Jamaica, from Africa, who didn't join until they came to Canada or the States, but then have had a chance to visit lodges when they returned, which is always something I think is really interesting.
If I would return to Hungary for a visit or something, I would definitely like to do that. But now my parents is passed away, so I have some relative, but not that close. So we keep in touch to the Facebook. But
even Australia would be cool. I'd love to see a lodge in Australia. Though you wouldn't understand what they're saying with their crazy accents.
Oh, they're speaking beautiful English. They just don't open their mouth. That's all.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
My parents. Well, my mom lived in Australia for a little while before I came along.
Yeah.
So, what has your experiences been like, Tibor, in Masonry? What are some of the highlights of your Masonic career so far?
That's in the brotherhood. When people, I know, they are not that business organization or anything like that. But I know if I need somebody from another brethren, I know I can trust in them 100%. So that trust is definitely there, and the brotherhood. And as I said before, that is the supporting each other. I really was amazed and really loved even today that support what they're having there. They're not criticizing you, but try to lift you up.
And Katie, what about you from your perspective? What have been some of the highlights for you as a wife of a prominent Mason?
A Mason? Well, I had numerous possibilities when we did meetings where women were invited in there, and I really liked the atmosphere. I realized on TB that he's so much more confident than he ever been before. TB had a lot of issues with confidence ever since he was a child. So I find him way more confident. He's incredibly hard on himself, always been, because he's a perfectionist. And so every time when he went from one point to another, he's always terrified. And he's probably the rare individual. He did all his tests almost faultless. And he was so terrified of not being able to speak clearly, that people are not going to understand him, or he's not going to be able to remember words. And he worked really, really, really hard on them. And when he went through with flying colors every single time, because he's a perfectionist. He's an honest man, that as a worker, as a friend, as a husband, he's a loyal. His word means things. He doesn't say things which doesn't mean. And if he says something, he will jump through fire to achieve what he promises. And that's a very rare quality in a man.
Well, he has access to the fire with his being a blacksmith. Do you do that in your garage, or do you have a kiln somewhere? Forget now.
I have in the garage. Yeah, that's my workshop.
I agree with everything you said. I've had got to know Tibor the last few years. I'll ask you first, and I'll ask Tibor. Has he expressed any nerves about? You said he's hard on himself and nervous. Any nerves about moving up the chairs? Because he's not that far not that far from Worshipful Master.
Exactly. And every time I mention it, he says, "Oh no, 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 no."
Yeah,
but you know what? Just between the two of us, he said exactly the same thing the first time, the second time, the third time, the fourth time. So, so this no. I just take it like, yeah, let's wait a little while.
Well, with this with everything shut down right now, who knows when we'll get back to lodge? But
yeah, I understand.
You'll be there soon enough. And
I think so.
What about you? How are you feeling as you progress the chairs? The east is getting closer and closer for you.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Still, that's a problem, because my understanding and my pronunciation, my lack of the language skills, so kind of that is holding back, and the memory, and that's sometimes amazes me when it's seeing a junior warden lecture or something. It's just how the heck I memorize something like that, and people do it very well. I know, so it's not.
I've seen lots of Masons go through all the chairs, and the shittiest ones had no problem with the English language. So don't worry about that. It's all about the effort you put in and the work that you do, and you do just like your wife said, right? And wives aren't gonna lie, so she's just like she said, right? You put the effort and the time in, so you'll do great, I'm sure.
It's not just but as a character, that a few years ago, TB belonged to a men's group, a pagan men's group, and they kind of following some of the Sumerian deities, and once a year they choose a Sun King, right? And they had a lot of issues with, because he didn't show up for the meetings and stuff, and they choose Tibby. And his first meeting was exactly in the weekend when we did Kaleidoscope Gathering in the Algonquin Park. So from in Eganville, in Pembroke, right? And that Saturday was his first meeting. So we drove 11 hours to the festival, and at Saturday morning, we left the festival and went to the meeting to St. Catherine's, and drove back to drove back to Eganville to see me after the meetings, and the boys just couldn't believe it that the man drove more than 20 hours to fulfill his obligation as a Sun King, and I was very, very proud of him for that.
Is that type of effort, right, that he puts in will serve him well in the coming years. So you as you mentioned, next stop is junior warden, though. So any good recipes you wanna share with us right now for your junior warden position?
I can say anything.
We used to say you have to have a cookbook before you.
I think it's everybody. Maybe that's one of the most fearful position in the lodge, I believe so, and it's a part of the reason because of the direction what you have to memorize, and that is everybody is kind of not yet so because of the direction. It's a long one and hard.
I think so too. I think the junior warden position is one of those that that's when a lot of guys. Some would start as a choke point. That's when a lot of guys start to get really nervous because there's a lot more responsibility, and as a warden, you're doing a lot more work. But you'll do a terrific job. I've no doubt. So don't be too nervous about it. Do you? How do I put this? How important is it to have such a supportive family for Freemasonry? Because that's something I want to talk about as well. I've talked to a lot of, I guess, having you both here, a couple, and I've got to talk to Katie a lot, and she's always very supportive of the Masonic Lodge and of Freemasonry. How important has that been in your Masonic journey, both in Toronto and here in Windsor?
Important for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very important because I said this is, okay, one thing is like a public speaking. I read once it's people more afraid of public speaking than from that. And in the Masonry, you kind of forced to do public speaking. So, as Katie said before, that is, I'm much more self-confident and can open up and can talk better. And they say always like a slogan for the Masonry, there is make a good people better. And I feel that way too. And my daughter too is realized that I'm improving and a better person than I was before.
No, I can't finish this interview without talking about our location, the Hag Shack. Let's see if I can do a quick. Here we are, and I'll put the contact information up front. Tell me about the Hag Shack, the services you guys provide. It's a really neat store. I love it. It's got so many interesting, unique things. Tell me about your store, what type of services you guys provide, how long you've been open, things like that.
Well, I've been a printer since 1970, and when I moved my printing shop, the Aussie Graphics Printing Group, into the neighbor unit, for some reason I just couldn't make it in Windsor. That it's very, very difficult for me to get printing work, and I'm an Odyssean priestess, which I studied for a long, long time for. And I kind of lost my spirituality a little bit, so we bought this building, so both units is ours, so the unit was empty, and I thought that I need to give back, what I was given, and so we opened a metaphysical weekend shop. So we have a lot of magical products here. We sell consumables, of course, in oils, incense, herbs. We just started to sell herbs because Windsor hardly have any special herbs. So we have roughly about 150 different kind of herbs here. We have a lot of statuary for deities and uplifting things, a lot of jewelry, a lot of amulets and talismans. We also do classes and rituals once a month. We have Wiccan Church of Canada Windsor Temple within the Hag Shack. We have a temple space in the back. Now, because we have COVID, we had to rest that, so we are not teaching anything. We don't have rituals right now. But I have my Reiki 1 and Reiki 2, so I do Reiki here. I also studied reflexology, and so we're offering that. I'm a medium. I studied in a spiritualist environment for many years. In Lilydale and in Toronto in 2 different spiritualist temples. So in mediumship, I did a lot of psychic fairs. So I do readings here and consultations as well, especially grief counseling. Within the temple, we do rites of passages. If everything going to work out at Halloween or Samhain for us, the New Year, I'm going to do hand fasting here. So somebody going to get married. They just have to get their paperwork in the town hall because I don't have the registration for yet. And but the hand fasting I'm going to do for them. We have different kind of rites of passages here, which we provide to people who needs any kind of spiritual help.
And that's an interesting, you bring an interesting perspective to Freemasonry. You talked earlier in the interview about it was actually you who approached Tibor's friend about joining Freemasonry because you were involved with your sister, and you felt it important that there be a fraternity as well. I guess how does your experience as a priestess, experience with your sister, how does that affect your understanding of Freemasonry?
Oh, a lot. Well, in our tradition, I'm not really sure about your rituals because Tibi doesn't talk about those. But
good job, Tibor.
But my understanding is the creator of or a recreator of Wicca, Gardiner, was a Freemason. So when he created Wicca, he brought a lot of Freemason things into Wicca. So we celebrating Northeast. We start our service in Northeast. So we are dealing with the elements as well, the deities, of course. And we doing Diocel when we're building things, Vidoshin when we're taking things down. So we have a lot of, I'm not really sure. Do you guys have temple stones? I'm not sure because we have like a temple stone who's witnessing our rituals and remembering things. I'm not really sure what is
there are analogies,
but
yeah.
I know that there's a lot of collaboration between Freemasonry and Wicca because of Gerard Gardiner who recreated Wicca. So I feel that there's a lot of interaction between the two, and also because Wicca is old band and Freemasonry is somewhat old band, so we learned a lot about keeping the mouth shut. So
that's right. There's certain, I always describe it as, and a lot of people describe it as, it's not a secret society.
No,
it's a society with secrets.
Yeah.
Well, the way we explain it, why we are not talking about certain things, because we do not want to rob your experience from you. So if you know what's happening, then you expect it, right? So your experience would be interfered with, instead of being organic and be your own emotions and your own feelings, So certain things we don't talk about because we don't believe that you've grown up enough to, or take away your experience from it, So that is the reason.
Yeah, as Katie said before, we're doing every month normally. not now at the moment, unfortunately, but we're doing the free lecture over a different subject, and after we'll be doing the free ritual, so everybody can come in here. There's a public ritual, and not as I know any other tradition have public ritual. They don't do public. They're doing in a closed circle, and so that knowledge is so free for everyone. If somebody wanna get further, there is no problems. I can choose Katie, a teacher, and doing one-on-one, and it's coming to the point when it's coming to the woodbine. So depend on the whatever.
So
the
basically,
knowledge.
we in the public classes we do not teach old band material, but because I'm the only priestess or Odyssean priestess in Windsor, and our tradition is very much focusing on knowledge, I have to teach all the classes. We have 52 classes which we follow before somebody could go further in their advancements. And those subjects include ceremonial magic, to stones, to herbs, to oils, to mythology, different cultures, comparative mythologic symbolism, ceremonial magic. So there's a lot of subjects which I studied and I teach because it's very important that the people who interested in this kind of subject, they know what they're getting themselves into. So many traditions they don't have that opportunity that you can taste something and you can walk away if this is not fitting with you. Because usually other traditions already outban you the first time you show up, right? For us, we believe that you need knowledge to have and understanding if this is the life you choose. And so you need knowledge for that this is what I want to follow or not, right? So we're not gonna force somebody into being outbound into something they have no idea what that is. You know what I mean? So that's what.
Oh, we talked about the products and services that the Hag Shack provides.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to mention, we talked about this for our Wednesday video, which will be coming out this coming Wednesday, but one product or one type of product that you guys provide is Tibor's work as a blacksmith.
Mm-hmm.
Blades and decorative pieces.
Mm-hmm.
Tibor, tell me about that, about how you got involved with being a blacksmith, what it is you enjoy about it.
That is, I'm a metal worker all in my life. I got my trade certificate as a metal worker in 1970. And as I said, that is when somebody invited me over to the reenactment, which again is a part of my product as well. I'm doing it for the reenactment people, actually lots of Mason people in the reenactors world. And I really love to do it. I realize that being a metal worker is help, but it's quite different than a blacksmith. So it's a different way to form in the metal, but I really love it. Maybe sounds kind of funny for the people who don't do those things. To me, that is so magical when you're hitting on the piece of rude metal and you hit it with a hammer and you form it. You form in different shape. You can do anything with that. You can make a knot on it, a piece of thick rod, or doing so many different things with it. So I just really love it. It's a harder work than I did before and dirtier, but I just love it.
And the thing I think is so cool about it is, it's one thing to go to a store and purchase something made out of metal, like a chain store. But the fact is, those are all molds, right? So it's a whole bunch of things that have been made exactly the same way. If somebody comes to you with a custom order, it's going to be unique. It's its own piece of metal. It's not made from a mold. So you can take some of these custom order and make it truly custom, truly unique to them.
Mm-hmm. And some people appreciate the fact I did it myself with my hand and not some in a factory with some actually different countries and just go to the machine and put it into the machine and bang, and that's finished. Because most of things is doing like this.
And it's something else as well, because for me, for the Hag Shack, one of the most important tools a weekend can have is your atami. Can you bring my atami? I would like to show my atami. It's on the table, I think. The atami, the magical blade, is incredibly important for any weekend person, right? And Tibi makes incredible atamis. And you're gonna cut this out, right?
No, it's fine. You can keep
Okay.
You can keep
So
the sound in. I'll edit
basically,
that part out. But.
So having your atami made by a pagan man who understands and worships the elements, you realize that every piece coming out of him is using fire to manipulate the metal. The metal is earth. He cools it in water and he dries it in air. And he's a pagan man with the soul of a pagan man, which means the pentagram right in there on every tool my husband makes, right? And that is very, very important, because the 5 elements, the 4 elements in spirit, is in every work he makes. And
this is mine.
You should.
And that is my very first and the ugliest knife I ever made. And later on a little bit fix it a bit better, but that is my first one, and I consecrated for me, so I still keep it. Now I can do something better, but
yeah, that's very nice.
That is still
the magical blade is very, very important for a lot of reasons. And this sort of thing we do not cut material with. So
it's not a weapon.
The atami never touches material. The atami touches energy and works with energy, and it's an extension of the pagan man's hand. So when they draw, it's your hand in a point where the energy goes, and when you cast your circles or call your elements, and so forth and so forth. So it's very, very important to have somebody creating your magical blade who actually understands the magic behind the process.
One thing I do want to mention, though, because for myself, I'm not, I keep an open mind. I'm not involved with the Wiccan religion or with paganism.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, and neither of my friends, but even so, I've been able to find a lot of really cool things in your store that I purchased as gifts for friends of mine who also aren't involved with Wicca.
Well, it's not every product is religious, that it doesn't have to be that way. It's pretty spiritual, though.
Absolutely. Well, you feel the spiritualness of the store, but, the store has great products for everybody. It's such a very cool, very, very cool spot. And like I said, I've picked up some great gifts because they just, if nothing else, they look absolutely beautiful, some of the pieces that you have. And
thank you so much.
We took some pictures. You mentioned the services you provide. You said you provide tarot cards and readings. Tell us a bit about that.
Well, I started, I've always had issues with dreams and spirits when I was younger. And I started to read tarot decks in 1986 after I miscarried. And that was the first time I asked myself, who am I and why am I here? Is there a higher purpose for my existence, right? And it just gone from there. That was in Australia in 1986. And we came to Canada, and soon after I joined Psychic Society of Toronto, and within 2 years I was lecturing in Psychic Society of Toronto. And then through them I met a spiritualist temple, Britain Memorial, when I studied with Reverend June Struthers for 2 years. And then I studied with Doreen Bald for 2 years, mediumship, had to communicate with spirit and that sort of thing. And then I studied in Lilydale for a couple of times in New York. And And after reading in psychic fairs, I met somebody who was a Wiccan, and she poisoned me.
And we studied together 4 years.
Kabbalah.
Kabbalah.
We studied Kabbalah
Yeah.
for 4 years.
That was very, very interesting.
Oh, it changed our lives.
Yeah, definitely.
If somebody wants a reading, is it walk in? Should they call to make an appointment?
Well, I prefer that somebody make an appointment, because I run the shop by myself. So it's nice if somebody sits in the front, so I don't have to worry about
So
somebody
I come
coming in.
in.
So Tibi comes in and helps me. So that's all.
How much do you normally charge for
For a reading, 65 plus tax.
the tarot cards?
That's the same. Oh, because I do both. So I don't just play cards.
Would you do one for us? For me?
Do a reading for you?
Yeah.
Now? I
Sure,
just
why
need to hold your hand.
Hold on one second.
I just want to put this. I put this on that.
Let me see. All right. I think we're good.
Okay. The first thing I got when I touched you, it feels to me that there's a little bit of blockage in your throat chakra. It feels to me that there is a situation where you are not communicating as you need to, as your heart would desire. I'm having a feeling that there is a situation in your environment right now when you're holding your tongue for something. It feels to me that you see something not proper or properly done, and you would like to correct it, but I have a feeling that you're holding that because you do not want to cause trouble. Okay, so that's the feeling I'm getting. And it feels to me that this has to do with something you work at. Okay, so it feels to me that what you work at. I'm not talking about a job, but you work at something. Okay, so in the environment when there is that you involved, right? So it feels to me, and also it's very interesting. It feels to me that you started something, but some other people should be involved or help or something, but I'm having a feeling that you've been left behind or you're just not getting the support what you need. Okay, so that's the feeling I'm getting, that talk was big, but action is not. You know what I mean? It feels to me that yeah, but when it comes to actually do something, it didn't happen that way. Okay, so that's the feeling I'm getting. Also, it's very interesting, because I feel a little discomfort in my stomach, that it feels to me that you have a very strong tendency to put your nerves into yourself. You swallow back your if something happens to you in negative ways, that you swallow it back into yourself. Understand that? So you're not releasing it. Okay. What she's saying here that you need to open that and release it, because you're harming yourself with that action, right? Because you swallow it back, right? And it goes into your spiritual center. You know what I mean?
Who is she?
Oh, she's my spirit guide. Okay. It's very interesting, that I'm having a feeling. Are you planning for going somewhere? Not now with the COVID, but in a plan. Okay, I'm talking about you planning to going somewhere, to change something, to go somewhere. That's the feeling I'm getting. It feels to me that you're being stopped of. In some kind of plan, because I'm having a feeling that you wanted to do something last year, and I'm having a feeling that it's being kind of halted. Okay, something halted. It feels to me that you're being stopped of progressing, if that makes sense.
I'm definitely antsy. I miss traveling. I used to love to travel.
Oh, okay.
and I
So
haven't been
that's
able
what
to.
it is. Because I'm having a feeling that you've being stopped. It feels to me that there's frustration here.
I definitely am tired of being home. Like, I used to love traveling. That's been the worst part about COVID. Just being able to go to Detroit, I miss that, and
Yeah.
Chicago,
We
all
go
that
stir
stuff.
crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an honest truth, But for some reason, I have a feeling that are you communicating with other Masons when you travel, or do you visit other
yeah.
Masonry? Okay, so that's a major part of it. That you're visiting other Mason lodges, right?
Oh yeah, whenever I travel, I visit.
Okay, because I feel very good with it because that's rejuvenates you. You know what I mean? So when you meet new people and you see that the craft is strong and it's working well, that it gives you satisfaction. So it's very, very important. And right now I feel frustration, that I feel frustration, I feel like I'm being caged, so that's, but everybody feels that way. So it's not super science, right?
Do you sense anything about the future of the craft, about where it's going to go, or my future in Masonry?
Well, I'm having a feeling that you're in a perpetual environment. I'm having a feeling that sometimes you're a little bit sick and tired of the responsibility, right? But also, I have a feeling that that responsibility give you purpose. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like a two-sided sword in a way. That one way I'm tired, and I don't want the responsibility. I don't want people to call me and ask me questions and take care of them, right? But on another hand, you feel worthy and you feel strong and you feel wanted and you feel your purpose. And you know that when you do masonry work, you're actually bringing people up. You're bringing people up. You're not pushing people down. And that is your purpose, to allow people to find their own potential, and help them to find their own potential, So I think it's disability give you an incredible amount of strength, and even though it feels to me that sometimes it feels sadness within myself, that when I'm focusing on disability, but I have a feeling that it made you so much stronger as a human. You know what I mean? Because when you look at somebody, you don't see their shortcomings. You see their strengths, and you're applying that to that strength to bring that up and make it stronger. You know what I mean? And because we don't have to be visibly disabled, right? But most of us are terribly, terribly disabled within ourselves, in our souls, that depression and mental illness and so forth, which is not visible, but it's still there, and those people need to be picked up and uplifted, and help to find their potentials. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm getting with you, in personality wise. So I have a feeling that Masonry changed your life, because you become responsible for not just for yourself, but for a whole organization and a bunch of people too, and I think I like it a lot because when I see you circling in certain places, I see the smiles people give you. I see the looks people give you, the happiness that you're there. You know what I mean? And that's very important because it means that your work was acknowledged and accepted and loved and cherished, and that's very, very important for any human being. So personality wise, this is what I feel with you.
Do you, I don't know if they would latch on to me at all, but you mentioned spirits. Do you sense any spirits at or from the Windsor Masonic Temple?
I think there is a lot of spirits in the temple. That building has a lot of energy. Okay, and I find it very, very interesting, that old Masons walking the lodge. I mean, they do, that it's been their home, and they're gonna visit no matter what, and that's absolutely normal for spirit to visit, but where they were happy.
Yeah, we've had some ghost investigations at the temple, so I'll put a link to that in the video. Thank you so much.
Oh,
this
you're
is
quite
very,
welcome.
very cool.
Thank you.
And so anybody who's watching this, if you've often thought about getting a psychic reading, I promise you it was painless, well worth the cost, because it's very cool. And it's always nice to have somebody talk to you about what's going on. And so thank you so much for that.
You're quite welcome.
And
you're quite welcome.
We're going to be finishing this interview. Tibor, you are the Mason I came here to interview. So anything you wanna say, anything you wanna to end with? I know you've got your Markham Union shirt on. Anything?
Yeah.
Do you still get to see your brothers from Markham Union at all now that you're down in Windsor?
I keep in touch with them because
Nice.
I have it on their site, so I know what's happening in the Markham Union Lodge, and I sometimes I'd rather do what's happening with me, so we keep in touch with them.
So in the Hag Shack we have some books, reference books, not a lot. We have some altars here for the gods. We are selling different kind of herbs, which I portioned out of in this section. We have different kind of oils. We have some black mirrors in here, custom made, engraved. Then we have some oil burners right there. We have an ancestor altar right in here. We have some smudge and sage. We also carry the stones, different kind of stones in a shop. We carry a lot of jewelry. Aphrodite is right there. Special candles, which created by the Hag Shack for different spiritual meanings. We have some Papa Legba heads right there, candles, and some hats. There are a lot of chalices and cups. There's some jewelry. Lots of stones. Turtles. Then we have the gods, different kind of deities. Then we have the angels. Crystal balls. Spiritual baths. We have drinking horns with beeswax already, ready to go. And horn cups. There's some more jewelry and stones. Boxes. You have tarot cards. Incense. Different statuary incense. The crystal bottles. Beautiful lamps from Nemesis Now. And we have Harry Potter wands. And some boxes and spiritual journals.